to Sportsnet Lakers. I'm your host, Allie Clifton. Joining me is our Lakers insider, Mike Bresnahan, and from The Athletic, one half of the Cam Bros. His name is Brian Kamenetsky. BK, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you guys. I'm doing good.
Lots to talk about. Lakers, I hear, are going to be starting the NBA Finals on Wednesday. Can you confirm?
I can. Sources.
Sources. You are the source.
That's right.
And we've got a packed show, speaking of. So let's get right to it. We get things started with the Purple and Gold advancing to their first NBA Finals since 2010 with a 117-107 win over the Nuggets on Saturday night. And the Miami Heat are making their first return to the finals since 2014 after knocking off the Celtics 4-2. All the finals action gets underway on Wednesday night with Game 1. And here's Lakers head coach Frank Vogel on how the team is preparing for the Heat after winning the West.
I think we were excited when we won Game 5 against the Nuggets and earned our spot in the NBA Finals. But I think we appropriately had fun with it that night, enjoyed it that night. And then the next day, it's time to move on to the next, get ready to play either the Celtics or the Heat was our mindset yesterday. Watched the game, obviously learned that it's the Heat, and now it's all business. So, I don't think there's any kind of, eye towards the end of getting home or anything like that. It's really about, staying single-minded in our focus about what needs to happen for us to beat the Miami Heat.
Are there certain things that you can take and apply to this Miami series, or are they a pretty unique and independent team that requires a totally different approach?
Each team is unique, but I do believe that we've learned lessons in each of the first 3 rounds that will help us with this series and with this opponent. Without getting into all the details of them, there are some similarities to each of those opponents. That hopefully will have strengthened some of the things that we need to do to beat the Miami Heat.
So, guys, here we are. Holy crap. I can't believe we're talking about the NBA Finals. The Lakers are in it. But when you think back to the last several months, we didn't even know if the season would return. But here we are. So I want to start first with BK. Just the amount of kudos we need to give to the league for allowing it and pulling this thing off.
What's funny about it is, too, Allie, it's gone so well inside the bubble in terms of, no COVID positive tests. And, the basketball has been really good at a higher level that I think most people anticipated, that we kind of forgot how hard it was for a little while for the players to be there. I think all of us understand it better now. But those initial few weeks were so good, it just seemed like this fantasy basketball camp that we were watching. And so, yeah, the NBA deserves tremendous respect. The players deserve, congratulations and respect for giving up their, time with their families and all that. And obviously the coaches and staff, all of it. It's been remarkable how well this has gone.
Yeah, BK, well stated. I mean, big picture, no COVID tests, no positive COVID tests for over 2 months now. And even the smallest things are really impressive to me. Like, you're watching these games and you hear the fans in the background, and you're like, wait, after a while you realize, wait, the fans aren't there. But I feel like the NBA ops people, the game ops people have done a really nice job of making us feel like, yeah, we're watching a game, whether it's the fans kind of ringing the facility in the lower bowl there, or, like I said, just kind of some fun things going on during these games. So everything from the important stuff to the minor details have really made this thing go.
Yeah, well said from the both of you, because in my regard, I just feel like it's blown out my expectations.
Yeah, 100%.
Just by pulling it off. And then, of course, you guys talk about the actual games itself and how much fun they've been. You've got the Heat now and the Lakers in the finals, both who are 12-3 here in the postseason. BK, I'll start with you again. When it comes to the Lakers and just what you've seen with them here through the West in the postseason, how impressive has that been?
Look, 12-3 is 12-3. 5-5-5. You go through it against a good conference, and you can find things to say about Portland. Maybe they, not much in the front court, whatever it might be, but they were a better 8 seed than almost any team you'll ever see in any season. Houston, okay, they don't have bigs, but they have 2 superstars, and James Harden and Russell Westbrook. And obviously Denver was playing extremely well when they got into that series. The Lakers beat 3 good teams to get here, and they did it in increasingly dominant fashion because, again, each one of those teams was better than the last, and they won each of those series in 5 games.
Yeah, BK, no doubt. I mean, you look at each of these 3 different series, kind of a different flavor from each opponent. Portland, great backcourt, a very good back to the basket center in Nurkic, That didn't end well for them. Then Houston, whatever that offense is, whatever that team is, whatever it's going to be, whatever it will be, I have no idea. But that was something totally unusual. And then kind of back to some basics, but a very young Denver team. I mean, these guys are going to be good for years to come. They really shut down a very hot Nuggets team with Jamal Murray scoring 50 and 40 and so many other games, but didn't really hit the Lakers that badly. And the same can be said for, of course, their all-star center. I mean, just an amazing job by the Lakers, beating three pretty different franchises.
Gentleman sweep after gentleman sweep after gentleman sweep. And here we are. What everyone wants to know, the schedule for the finals. It looks like this. All you really need to know is that game 1 is set for Wednesday at 6 p.m. And then, of course, you see 2 and 3 and 4 are as follows. We'll get to 5, 6, and 7 if necessary.
Yes.
Now that the matchup is set, Frank Vogel knows the Lakers will have their work cut out for them versus the Miami Heat.
They're extremely well coached. You know, obviously, they got a lot of ways that they can beat you. To me, they have 3 all-star level players in Butler, Bam, and I've always felt Goran Dragic, when healthy, is an all-star level player. Obviously, a Hall of Fame addition in Andre Iguodala. They have shooting, they have toughness, and like I said, they're extremely well coached. So there's no surprise that they've had such a successful postseason run. Very impressed with what they've been able to accomplish, beating 3 teams convincingly that we're on pace, if they're an 82-game season, to win plus 50 games. And, we're going to have to be at our best to beat them.
Jimmy Butler, he said yesterday, Miami's not for everybody, I'm not for everybody, but that seems to fit. I'm just curious kind of what you thought about his fit with their culture.
Well, his fit with their culture is perfect, because he's about toughness, and he's about winning. And, that's what the Miami Heat are about. I can tell you I've got great respect for Jimmy and what he brings to the table. Obviously, he's a huge part of what they're doing this year. He has really set a tone for them from a toughness standpoint and being about winning.
All right, guys, so let's dive into your top storylines when it comes to this series. And, Brez, you're going to start with LeBron.
Yeah, it's got to be LeBron. I mean, first and foremost, the guy has really willed the Lakers this far. No doubt about it. It just made so much sense to me that in Game 5, potential elimination game against Denver, he was the guy to make it happen. 38 points for a soon-to-be 36-year-old. I love that fourth quarter as well. 16 points, missed his first shot, and then made 7 of his next 9, dagger after dagger after dagger. Mostly mid-range game. He didn't really attack the basket that much in that ever-important fourth quarter. And this series, to me, starts and ends with LeBron James. Does he get that 4th championship? I think he does.
So on my script, BK, you sent in your 2 top storylines, and you're going to have to say what your first word is of this. Blank of Anthony Davis. What are we talking about for your first storyline?
Look, you're talking about a guy who went to LA seeking out this heat. Like, he's like, come and give this to me. I want to step up and be big on the biggest stage that you could possibly have. And has, I don't know if you could say he's met expectations, exceeded expectations, blown away expectations. 29 points a game, 9.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He's shooting 57% from the floor, 36.5% from 3. And so he has ascended to a place where, Brez talks about kind of the cementing of the legacy of LeBron James. This is the ascendance of Anthony Davis, the beginning, in theory, of kind of him creating that kind of all-time great legacy, where it's not just one of the elite players, he's one of the truly transcendent players in the league, and it starts with winning a title. He's got one more round to finish off this thing, which he kind of sought out in under very difficult, pressure-filled circumstances.
I just gave you guys a tease. We're going to play fill in the blank later. What a strong word by you, BK. Ascendance of Anthony Davis.
But I saved my word for later, though, Alex.
Oh, I've got one too. Trust me.
Brez, your number 2.
I saw the trap you were laying. I didn't step it.
You didn't take the bait. AD versus Bam. That's what you got your eye on.
Yeah, Kentucky Wildcat versus Kentucky Wildcat. Well, how I would phrase it, a really good young player against a good, really young player. AD, kind of the vet of these two. I don't even know what I just said there. I think I blacked out for a second, but I hope it made sense. Love what AD has done, especially this last round. 31 points a game, shot 55%, just demoralizing whatever Denver kind of threw at him. But bam, breakout year for him, the 14th pick in the 2017 draft.